Did Trump just issue an executive order that would be the precursor to him invoking the Insurrection Act and martial law? Some people think so, yes. So let's go through it together calmly. The executive order is called Strengthening and Unleashing America's Law Enforcement to Pursue Criminals and Protect Innocent Citizens. And in Section 4, it calls for using national security assets for law and order. Quote, within 90 days of the date of this order, the Attorney General and Secretary of Defense, in consultation with the Secretary of Homeland Security and the heads of agencies as appropriate, shall increase the provision of excess military and national security assets in local jurisdictions to assist state and local law enforcement. Within 90 days of this order, the Secretary of Defense, in coordination with the Attorney General, shall determine how military and national security assets, training, non lethal capabilities, and personnel can be most effectively utilized to prevent crime. This directly calls for the Secretary of Defense and military assets to be incorporated in the daily activities of local and state police departments. So I talked to a lawyer friend of mine who said, number one, the federal courts are going to challenge this right away. Okay, that's why it says in 90 days, because for the next 90 days, there's going to be people fighting this. The military turning on civilians is in the Constitution as a no-no. The next thing my lawyer friend said is that for folks in red states, it is likely going to get a little bit worse a little bit more quickly because those states are much more willing to take military assistance. But for folks in blue states, we are not out of the woods. The federal government will hold state and local jurisdictions whose officials willfully and unlawfully direct the obstruction of criminal law, including by directly and unlawfully prohibiting law enforcement officers from carrying out duties necessary for public safety and law enforcement, or unlawfully engage in discrimination or civil rights violations under the guise of diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that restrict law enforcement activity or endanger citizens. Basically mumbo jumbo saying that if state or local jurisdictions don't do what the federal government wants them to in the way they want them to, they will prosecute them. Section 2 gives greater indemnification to law enforcement officers and commits federal resources to defending law enforcement officers if they, quote, unjustly incur expenses or liabilities for action taken during the performance of their official duties. So, people are going to freak out about this one for very obvious reasons. It will go through the federal courts where it will likely be thrown out if the Constitution still means anything. This is a bullying tactic. What the president is trying to do here is usurp the power of state and local governments and create a true federal, top-down, military-enforced autocracy. He's already arrested a federal judge. I have no disillusions that he won't arrest a governor if he thinks they're standing in his way. But right now, this is just an executive order. It has not gone into effect, and it will be fought.